So if you're anything like me or like I was back in 2019, I mentioned this in a video before, but I was eating healthy foods, I was doing a lot of cardio, I was still working out, and I still wasn't seeing any progress. I still wasn't losing any fat. If this is like you, then you should watch this video. This is from my experience and what worked for me. So just a disclaimer, I'm not a health expert or anything like that. This is just completely based on my experience. And ultimately, if you're in the same situation as I was, this could help you as well. Alrighty, so let's get into it. So of course, you want to eat healthy foods for health reasons. It'll make you feel good. It'll give you more energy and things like that. However, I also found along my journey that it's about when you eat. So we're taught that you're supposed to eat 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Well, I'm here to tell you that is not the case. So throughout human history, of course, food wasn't always this readily available. In fact, it wasn't until recently that we can actually have food pretty much whenever we want to. Since we used to have to hunt and kill what we would eat, of course, we're completely disconnected from that whole process. Nobody sees the animal before they eat it. It's already prepared and they eat it, right? There's lots of scientific evidence out there that says that fasting is really good for your body. It's very beneficial. Of course, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not a science expert, but you could do your research. There's a lot out there proving what I'm saying is true. So if you're familiar with fasting, you may have heard of intermittent fasting, and that's essentially where you give yourself a time period or time frame to eat. And that's not what I'm talking about, because that didn't work for me. I tried to do intermittent fasting, and I believe it's like 16 hours you don't eat, but you have an 8-hour time period where you can eat. But the problem about that is, 8 hours is a long time. That's like, for example, like noon to 8 p.m. That whole time frame you could be eating, and you could eat a lot of food in that time period. What I found that worked the best for me is just eating 1 meal a day. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, how am I supposed to get my protein in? I'm gonna be hungry all the time. I hear you. Now, your body is gonna adapt to it. You're gonna feel more energized, and ultimately, it's gonna make everything so much easier on you. So for my schedule and what's worked for me, I know everybody's schedule is different. Some people like to work out in the morning time or even in the afternoon. What I do is I work out in the evening time, so at around 5 p.m. If you've seen some of my videos, I like to do a little bit of carbs. I'll do some rice cakes with honey on top before I go into the gym, just to give me some extra energy. And then after the gym is whenever I do my big meal of the day. I'm not snacking throughout the day or anything like that. I'm fasting throughout the day, because what happens is while you fast and you're not snacking, your body will actually feed on the fat rather than feeding on the food that you're eating. Now, you could have your big meal in the morning time or in the afternoon. It's really based on your preference. But for me, I found that having dinner works the best, just because that's whenever a lot of people like to get together to eat, as well as I'm able to fast throughout the day. So in this 1 meal, you're gonna find that you're gonna be pretty hungry and you're gonna be able to eat a lot of food. So what I recommend is getting as much protein in as you can in this 1 meal. And then if you've seen my videos before, I've mentioned the Fairlife protein shakes. Fairlife protein shakes are great to do throughout the day. That way you can actually hit your protein goals. So one other thing is, don't eat right before you go to bed. So like me, I'll eat several hours before I do go to sleep. And that way my body's not trying to digest all that food whenever I'm sleeping, and I'll be fasting throughout the night. My body will be feeding off of the fats. And that's one thing that I had a hard time with, was not snacking at nighttime, just because you do have those urges. But I promise you, it'll make all the difference. And one last thing is, I can stay lean and I can almost eat what I want to eat as long as it's in that 1 meal. So, I don't beat myself up if I have a slice of cake every once in a while, because I know I'm going to be fasting throughout the next day, and my body's going to be feeding off of the fat. And like last night I had a bunch of pizza. I'm perfectly fine. I eat burgers all the time. I haven't stopped eating the foods that I like to eat. Of course, I don't eat a whole bunch of bad foods, because now I look at it more for the protein and feeding my muscles, and less about like I don't eat donuts all the time. Whenever I was bigger, I did eat donuts all the time, but since I've got into lifting so much, Since I've got into lifting and fitness and everything, I want to eat better foods, but of course, you know, I'll eat a burger every once in a while. It doesn't hurt me. But I think that pretty much covers it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. If I could have at least helped one person, this video was worth it for me. Whether you're just starting your morning, it's afternoon or nighttime, have a blessed rest of your day. And yeah, until next time.